Good day and welcome to our roundup of the European Parliament's plenary sessions here in Strasbourg. The week saw the EPP Group welcome EU sanctions against Russia and aid to the new pro-EU government in Ukraine, a robust EPP defense of the ways and means used to save several EU member states from default, new reforms to protect EU holidaymakers' rights, and upgraded personal data and privacy protection for EU citizens. We begin, though, with Parliament's response to Russia's threatened annexation of Ukraine's Crimean peninsula. Political and military crisis reaching its climax in the Crimea. Russian saber-rattling, threats to annex the largely Russian-speaking territory within Ukraine. With an annexation referendum only days away, the EU and European Parliament response has been to offer 11 billion euros in aid to the near-bankrupt Ukraine and its new pro-EU reformist government. European Commission President José Manuel Barroso summed up the stakes.
The present situation directly challenges us in many ways and forms. It challenges our conscience and individuals. It challenges our unity as Europeans. It challenges our policies as decision makers. And it challenges some of the values that we hold dear, such as peace and democracy.
Elmar Brok, chairman of Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, was blunt in his assessment of Russia's recent actions in Ukraine.
Russia has violated international law. For that, there is no excuse. And that must be made clear. The referendum on Crimea is illegal and violates the Ukrainian constitution. Therefore, it can't be legitimate, and there is no justification for Russia's actions.
Brok called for European and international solidarity to bring Ukraine into the European family of nations and halt threatened Russian aggression.
We need to quickly sign the association agreement and help Ukraine. I welcome sanctions so that Russia is shown where our limits of tolerance are.
With Europe still supporting early national elections and pro-Western reform, the question is who will blink first, Russia or the EU? It was a highly controversial rescue package for several ailing member states, the largest financial state rescue package, in fact, in history. This week, the often second-guessed actions of the group that saved these countries, the so-called Troika, were strongly defended in Parliament by the EPP Group and others. Critics have tried to make the Troika, comprised of the International Monetary Fund, the European Central Bank, and the EU's Eurogroup, responsible for the economic malaise Europe finds itself in. Hit hardest by subsequent austerity measures were Greece, Cyprus, Portugal, and Ireland. Many jobs were lost, much under construction was halted. But its defenders say that without the Troika, several of those countries would have suffered a disorderly default and been forced to leave the euro area. Othmar Karas is the EPP Group's rapporteur on the issue and vice president of the European Parliament.
One has to say here very clearly that without the Troika, several countries would have gone bankrupt. The political responsibility for the work of the Troika lies primarily with the finance ministers of the Eurozone.
Primär bei den Finanzministern der Eurozone liegt.
Karas said the roots of the crisis and the Troika's hastily created supervisory role under huge time pressure and financial market instability makes the need for an EMF, or European Monetary Fund, all the more pressing.
Wir müssen ein Instrumentarium haben.
We need to find a way for those of us inside the European Union to develop an insolvency regulation together with countries facing bankruptcy and thus unable to fulfill their common responsibilities within the Union.
Verhinderungsgesetz entwickeln.
EPP Group proponents say greater oversight of the EU financial aid system should reinforce Parliament's vital role as the only democratically elected EU body. Much as the Troika helped protect countries facing default, a new EPP-backed directive will help better protect EU consumers dealing with travel providers that go bankrupt or don't provide what their website offers promise. Many of Europe's 120 million holidaymakers have known at times the frustration of booking a dream holiday only to wake up to a different reality. Or deal with a travel agency which suddenly goes broke either before or during the holiday. The new travel directive would require online and offline travel businesses to be more transparent before a package holiday is finally signed, sealed, and delivered. The EPP Group's rapporteur on package travel is Hans-Peter Mayer. He said few online buyers of package holidays knew if or how they were protected against a travel provider either badly organized or with bad intentions.
It's very easy with online. You can click through, you can link, and so nobody knows it's a package or it's a linked or it's nothing, not covered by the EU law. And therefore we need clarification.
The proposal dictates that for buyers of traditional and customized packages, there will be stricter controls on price surcharges with a 10% cap on price increases. Improved cancellation rights, with consumers able to enjoy more flexibility by being able to terminate the contract before leaving home, are also included. Travel businesses would receive a fairer, more level playing field to compete, says Mayer, with retailers, traders, and organizers given clearer definitions and responsibilities across the 28 EU member states. This, Mayer insists, will help put an end to the rights and responsibilities confusion for business and 120 million holidaymakers who can now rest easier when they make their bookings, particularly online. Finally, there were key votes on EU data protection that will improve citizens' rights when dealing with online providers. Citizens would be protected regarding internet-derived data given to social networks, banking service providers, and online shopping services, among others. Its purpose? To make mandatory for companies better and clearer information to consumers about how the data is being used and who it is being sold on to. The EPP Group's expert on the issue is Axel Voss, member of Parliament's Civil Liberties Committee. He says the directive should help strike the right balance regarding data privacy and security.
I think we are going to protect more our privacy. We should do this because the question is now, do we want to have privacy in future or not? And therefore we have to act. I know we have to find balances between security issues and data protection or privacy protection. We are strengthening the rights for the consumer or for our citizens, and if the consumer decides or the user decides, please delete my data, then the company or the provider has to delete the data.
Full deletion is impossible, Voss added, but emphasized that restrictions ring-fencing it so it cannot be legally shown to the wider world via the internet ever again would be enforced. He also welcomed recent calls by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, herself a victim of NSA spying, for the creation of a more secure, European-based cloud network for storing data of private citizens and companies. That's all from Strasbourg. See you again next week in Brussels. And find out more about the activities of the largest political force in Parliament by going to eppgroup.eu. Thanks for looking in, and see you again soon.